Hey folks, Tony Mo here, and I've got a bit of an extra video. Let's take that a little bit slower. I've got a bit of an extra video for you guys this week. As the Xbox press conference just wrapped up, we got to see Halo Infinite, new Fable got revealed, although we didn't get to see much of it, and there were a bunch of other games that I genuinely didn't expect to see, including Stalker 2 and a 40K game from Fat Shark, the people who made Vermintide. It looks like it's probably going to be a 4-player co-op 40K take on the Left 4 Dead style experience that Fat Shark has done with their 40K with their Warhammer Fantasy inside of Vermintide, and that is something I have wanted for so very long. We're going to focus primarily today on the Halo Infinite stuff, and then we'll wrap up the video by talking a little bit more about the rest of the conference, and again, a little bit more detail on the things that really excited me and surprised me. So, Halo Infinite. Number one, I continue to be all in on this art direction, this aesthetic for the game. It feels classic, it feels clean, and I love the color palette. It just comes across as so vibrant. Considering this is going to be a more sandbox, open world experience, I want a world that's like welcoming, that I want to go out and explore, even if I'm constantly dealing with deadly threats along the way. This very much looks like that. I love the cleanness of the weapon models, of the character models. The Warthog looks fucking incredible, by the way. New physics for that thing. It sounds amazing. I loved watching it bounce in this sequence as Chief takes it off this giant cliff jump. It just looks so satisfying. If I'm looking correctly, too, it looks like there's some proper terrain deformation in there for mud physics and things like that. It's going to make driving the Warthog around a lot of fun, which, for me, half of my enjoyment of Halo CE back in the day as a kid was just driving the Warthog around with friends and having a good time in campaign and even in some of the multiplayer maps. So to see those physics getting taken up a notch, small thing, but something I'm definitely super stoked for. Now, right off the rip, we get to see Chief engage some grunts with the AR, and things just look a little bit more crisp, a little bit more poppy to me. I'm very curious about the time to kill as we go into multiplayer here, because it seems like there's a general focus around just increasing the pace of the game a little bit here in campaign, but not necessarily pushing it into like Call of Duty super fast arcade territory. We do see a sprint, but it seems very lightweight, not like the one we got in Guardians that sort of locked the character in place and made it difficult to go left or right. This feels less Michael Bay and more classic Halo to me in all of the right ways. The guns sound amazing. The combat, again, looks much more fluid, much more brisk, if you will, than anything we saw in really classic Halo, but it doesn't seem as unnecessarily rapid as Halo 5 Guardians. So this to me seems like them trying to find a nice middle ground between, you know, making like a proper modern video game and one that doesn't feel like you're just a sluggy, floaty, you know, sort of dude in a suit, and one that isn't, again, like super fast arcade. So I like what we've seen so far. I think the gunplay just looked and sounded incredible. Not to mention, plethora of new weapons. We had that really heavy hitting new AR that we saw. We got to see what looked like a new shotgun pistol. There was a burst Covenant weapon, a bunch of other crazy energy-based weapons, and of course, let's talk about the freaking grappling hook. Equipment clearly coming back in a big way here. We can see the Chief at one point pick up this new AWOL shield that he can shoot through, throws that on the ground, but the grappling hook seems to be something that stays in his equipment inventory. So I'm wondering if there are going to be certain pieces of equipment that are more permanent, that function on recharge rates like the grappling hook, or if the grappling hook will be the single one. But nonetheless, this thing opens up some serious possibilities, obviously, for combat and mobility, the verticality of the game. We also get to see Chief use it to grab things, including these fusion cells, which he then throws with one friggin' arm. Talk about actually portraying the strength and sort of mass of an individual wearing Mjolnir armor. I loved this sequence, and I love the opportunities it opens up for gameplay, especially when dealing with larger groups of trash mobs like the Jackals, as well as the Grunts, which had a lot more character to them. I mean, the Grunts have always sort of been the liveliest of the bunch, right? Screaming things like, "He killed my friend and the demon is upon us." But to see them more alive alongside of like the Jackal, there's a specific sequence where an individual Jackal is like literally talking back to Chief as he's engaging them. And then obviously we've got the Banish coming into play, which is going to be a brand new encounter for the Chief in the mainline Halo games, and they just look fantastic. One of the wonderful details that you can pick up in this gameplay trailer is the ability to actually stagger enemies by shooting them in certain body parts. We'll also see armor plating come off of these brutes. Helmet comes off of one brute as well as a piece of armor, so it looks like we're going to be able to chip away at their armor plating in a physical manner. to get to the soft, squishy bits underneath. It gets me really excited for other anime variants that we might encounter, especially if we start to see big, chunky boys come back into the play like the Hunters. How will we engage them? Will their armor be something that we can chip off with certain weapon types? Lots of possibilities here for the combat in the sandbox to expand. And honestly, I always feel like Halo Sandbox has been very strong. You know, recently going back and playing Halo 3 in the MCC, it's still so fun. So seeing this all taken up a layer, giving us those extra tools for our sandbox, and creating a little bit more of an engaging factor for how the player actually interacts and reaches out and connects with that game world via shooting the bad guys. All in all, just a killer presentation. You know, I dug a little bit into it just because I was curious about how things work, you know, the way the grappling hook recharged and stuff like that, and I'm just excited to see more. I'm excited to see what other mechanics might be hiding behind all of these things, and I'm pretty on board with a more open world sandbox. Like, this game takes place on a Halo ring that is seemingly captured by the Banished currently after this big battle is lost by the UNSC. By humanity, if you will. I'm into that. Like, to me, Halo has always kind of fit really well into a more open sandbox experience. Halo CE had a lot of levels that were much more open than we got in later Halo campaigns. 5 was especially linear in comparison to anything we got in 3 or 2 or in 1. So to see them going like proper full open world definitely excites me, especially when we talk about the potential for co-op gameplay here. You know, romping around in that Warthog with some friends as the Chief, and whoever the co-op people might end up playing as is something that I can very much get behind. I just like the idea of exploring a Halo ring as well. I think exploration is something that Halo could absolutely benefit from. I love the idea of a bit of downtime where we can go out and drive the Warthog around and get a greater sense for the world that is around us outside of just that, you know, straightforward story, combat swap. Now we've got this extra layer coming into the experience that I think could be really freaking exciting. Now, I would be lying if I didn't say that I wanted to see them maybe get a little bit more wild, and maybe they will. Maybe there's still a lot of surprises up the sleeves for multiplayer and the way things are going to handle here, but I guess at the end of the day, the realistic expectation is for them to not go too far off the rails, and I think a lot of people would even say that this is already too far. To some people, they have this really quintessential idea of like what a Halo game should be if you're going to revisit or reboot the classic. But to me, this is like them trying to find that nice balance while pushing for new things. And I'm very happy with what we've seen so far. I can't wait to learn more about the campaign, more about the other gameplay mechanics. We get to see a slide in here. You know, again, just all the mobility seems to be taken up a little bit. It's not Titanfall. This isn't some super fast mobile game. But I just like how clean everything felt. I like the fact that the sprint didn't like lock me into some head-on charge where I couldn't turn my character. It just all looks like it flows much better. Having that slide mechanic in there, having the grappling hook, it looks like combat's just going to get a lot more exciting and a lot more fluid. So feel free to share your thoughts down in the comment section below. There's also this screenshot, by the way. Actually, I'll have the trailer in here. They released another campaign trailer. We do get to see the BR here. Again, I want to stress just how much I love this art direction, this more simple, clean aesthetic where it doesn't seem like everything has like a million textures blasted all over it. I know it's not going to be for everyone. It's probably going to be one of the most polarizing parts of Infinite, but I'm super into it. I think this obsession with photorealism and like the Michael Bay that we got in Halo 5 Guardians sometimes distracts from the greater character of the world around us. And everything they've shown off from Infinite, from the art direction so far for me, has been like pristine, chef's kiss. Just I love it. I can't wait to see more of it and spend time in that sandbox myself. Let's just wrap things up, talk a little bit about some of the other stuff. Like I said, I was super surprised to see a 40K game from Fat Shark. Like, it looks like we're going to be playing as some actual like more common soldier types for the Empire, dealing with you know, some Xenos, some Gene Stealers or whatever. I'm not super deep into 40K lore, but I do enjoy the Warhammer games, and I obviously like 40K enough that I want to play the games. You know, I've been having fun with like Mechanicus lately, and I've been dying to just see something in the 40K realm that is first-person shooter, 4-player co-op, outside of what we got with Deathwing, which was unfortunately a little bit disappointing. And seeing Fat Shark do it, a team that is like so honed at making these sort of co-op survival, you know, Left 4 Dead style experiences. Like, I could not be more excited about that. Another big thing that we got to see, which was total shocker, was freaking Stalker 2. Like, we've known this has been developed by GSC, but I didn't expect to see it at an Xbox conference, let alone hear that it was coming to console. They have confirmed that it is more of an open world sandbox type experience like you'd expect from a Stalker game, and that one is just like big grin on my face. Hell yeah. So happy to see that. There was some of the really cool stuff in there too. Everwild from Rare looks really fantastic. Grounded actually looks cool. We've got another big game coming from Obsidian, and it's going to be a first-person fantasy RPG. Just praise everything that made that happen. I'm so happy to see Obsidian going fantasy, but also doing first person. I love their CRPGs, I really do. But man, I've wanted to see them sort of dive into that. There's not enough like Western first person RPGs like in the vein of games like Skyrim and, you know, Morrowind and Oblivion and so on and so forth. I want to see them do more of that. I'm happy they got to do the Outer Worlds, and I can't wait to see more of that game. I already forget the name of it because it was a bizarre, unique name, but very much looking forward to that. Obviously, the big Fable tease at the end, nothing but a trailer, but the comedy is there. They open up that trailer sort of talking about good and evil characters, so I'm hoping that they're just really looking at what was the sort of classic Fable experience as we actually got to play it, right? Like, what was Molyneux's crazy ideas, and then what actually got delivered? That idea of, you know, going on the bad side of things, going on the good side of things, the comedy, the humor of Fable, always made it such a wonderful place to spend time in. Like, I will forever have just the simplest jingle of shops now opening and shops now closing from Fable 2 burned into my brain. It's just a fun little colorful world, and I'm stoked to see them doing that. I'm even more excited to see Playground doing it. Like, Playground coming off of all the crazy open world stuff they built for Forza Horizon, like, yeah, we'll do an RPG. Sure. So looking forward to that. There was a bunch more small stuff in there, indie stuff in there that was definitely exciting, but those were really the things that took me by genuine surprise. My reaction to the 40K thing, I'll leave a clip for you guys. That's it for me today. I'll catch you all tomorrow with the usual Friday video. Thanks for hanging out. Feel free to leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. Take care, everyone.
Oh.
Dude. Fucking 40K? Omnius! What was I just talking about?
My Lord Inquisitor.
What?
I've reached the term of prime and begun our investigations.
How is there a 40K game at the Xbox reveal? Oh my god, dude. And Fat Shark's working on it?
Of the Hive to determine the
Dude, they're making a first-person fucking co-op survival game. Oh my god, I'm gonna lose my shit.
I'll know more when they make it back.
Dude! This is the team that made the Warhammer Vermintide games. Oh my god, yo.
If they make it back.
Dude! What the fuck are the chances, man?